piece is why I hate young people. I am so old that I have never heard of most of the hosts or musical guests on Saturday Night Live. I'm so old that I do not understand the difference between upload and download, a JPEG and a PDF, or CBD or CBG. And if you really want to give me a stroke, ask me to text you a screenshot. I am older than I ever expected to be, and I don't quite understand how it happened, because emotionally, I'm the same person I was when I was 16. I still think about boys, and I still hate my hair. Getting old seems to have occurred while my back was turned, and I gotta tell you, the challenges take some getting used to. Like, we're having dinner, and the waiter says to my husband, "Sir, would you care for a cocktail?" And then he turns to me, he says, "And how about you, young lady?" Let me tell you something I do not need in my life. I do not need to be condescended to by unemployed actors. Betty is Danish, so we spent a lot of time in Copenhagen. So you can imagine my shock when we saw in the middle of Town Hall Square this huge billboard with a white-haired older couple, totally naked from the waist up. He's standing behind her with his hands covering her breasts, and the billboard says, "Dom Perignon for those special occasions." You will not see that billboard on Sunset Boulevard anytime soon. In America, the idea of seniors having sex has this kind of icky connotation. But let me tell you something you should know about older people and sex. 13% of women are born with the capability of having multiple orgasms. And if you're one of those lucky few, it's the gift that keeps on giving. Young people have frequent casual sex. I don't have that. They get to enjoy the thrill of a first-time hookup. I don't have that. But here's what I do have. As a long married woman, almost 60 years, I get to share my bed with somebody who really likes me. Now, they say that true happiness comes not from wealth or celebrity, but from spending time with people who you love and who love you. Personally, I'd rather be rich and famous. But while I'm waiting for that to happen, I do enjoy the world's best family, the world's best friends, a comfortable home, and occasional frugal European vacations. So I got it pretty good. And when I turned 70, which is quite a while ago, 15 years actually, I decided not to apologize for it, but to celebrate it. First, the family took me to Spago in Beverly Hills for a fancy-dancy feast, and Chef Wolfgang Puck was so engrossed with conversing with our charming table that he totally forgot about his own guest and left her waiting for a long time. And that guest was Martha Stewart. And I am just enough. of a superficial, shallow showbiz whore to get a big kick out of that. The next night, we invited about 35 people for an evening of dinner, dancing, songs, skits, and speeches all about me and how wonderful I am. I wrote Benny's speech for him. And he's a little shy about public speaking, so he asked if I would also read it for him as well. So I got up and I said, "What can I say about Annie Korzen? She makes my life worth living." Among the guests were an Oscar winner, 2 Emmy winners, and a woman whose sister is best friends with a Tony winner. The only sour note was when the young waiter handed me a glass of Prosecco and said, "Here you go, young lady." I did not tell him that he is never going to book a series with that particular case of acne. I just lifted my glass, smiled graciously, and said, "Thanks, kid." Younger people may make me feel undesirable and undervalued and unimportant, but here's the irony. I have the life that they all want. I want to meet someone. I want a nice place to live. I wanted to see work. I'm so bored. I'm so lonely. I've got the answer to all of those problems. Grow old. And if you're really lucky, you'll end up surrounded by love, like me. P.S. Do you remember back in 2009 when that jet had to land in the Hudson River outside of New York City? They made a great movie out of it with Tom Hanks called Sully. Anyway, the flight crew who got all the passengers safely out of the plane consisted of 3 women ages 51, 57, and 58. They were mature, experienced professionals who got drilled in this kind of emergency evacuation once a year. So between the 3 of them, they had practiced it 82 times. Let me tell you something. The next time I book a flight, I'm going to ask the average age of the crew. And if it's a bunch of if it's a bunch of skinny-ass 30-somethings, I ain't getting on that plane. Thank you.